People love to say they're just so busy it's almost become a badge of honor. As if the more frantic they are, the more important they must be. But here's the truth, I discovered years ago. Life doesn't reward busy. The marketplace doesn't reward busy. Your family doesn't grow strong because you were busy, doesn't pay what pays, what rewards. What creates the life you want is being effective. See, business is DCIVING. It looks like progress, it feels like movement. But often it's just activity without achievement, like running on a treadmill. You're SWATING. You're exhausted. But at the end of the day, you haven't moved an inch. You can spend a whole year busy and not be a step closer to your goals, but 1 year of effective effort, focused, intentional discipline, and your life can be completely transformed. I once knew a man who was always on the run, phone ringing, papers stacked everywhere, always rushing in and rushing out. And if you asked him how he was, he'd say he was so busy, just couldn't keep up. But when you look closer, nothing was changing for him. Same paycheck, same stress, same struggles, busy every day. But no progress, that's the trap, and it's the trap most people never escape. But effectiveness, that's different. Effectiveness is about results. It's about doing the right things, not just doing things. It's about building the future. Instead of endlessly reacting to, the present. Effectiveness is what turns effort into achievement. HOURS into value, days into progress. And once you learn to trade busy for effective, everything changes. Your work changes, your health changes, your RELATIONSHIPS chain. Cause now you're no longer counting activity, you're counting results. And that's what I want to talk about today. How to stop measuring life by busyness and start measuring it by effectiveness. How to identify the illusion of busy. How to set real priorities. How to use leverage. How to master your time. And finally, how to build an effective life that works. Not a life full of frantic activity, but a life full of meaningful achievement. And it all begins the moment you make the decision to trade busy for effective. Business is one of the greatest illusions. People fall into it. Looks impressive on the surface. Always rushing, always in motion, always surrounded by activity. But once you look a little closer, you often find that nothing is really happening. No real progress is being made. It's the treadmill effect, sweat pouring, legs moving, heart racing, but at the end of the run, you're still in the same place you started. That's what business does. It keeps you occupied but not advancing. I once knew a man who loved to tell people how busy he was. His schedule was packed, his desk was overflowing, his phone was glued to his ear. From the outside, he looked like a man in high demand, but when you measured his results, when you really asked what all the business produced, there was little to show for it. He was just running in circles, confusing motion with progress, and he's not the only one. Most people live this way, without even realizing it. Why do people cling to business? One reason is that it feels important. When you're busy, it feels like you're in demand. Like the world can't function without you, it feeds the ego. Another reason is that business becomes a shield. It keeps people from facing the harder questions. If you're constantly in motion, you don't have time to stop and ask, am I even headed in the right direction? Business is often just distraction dressed up to look productive. Think about this. Have you ever seen someone rushing to meet deadlines, JUGGLING, scribbling notes? But later you realize they spent the entire day putting out fires. They started themselves. That's the illusion of business. It produces stress, it burns energy, but it doesn't build anything lasting. It's like filling your day with sand, when what you really needed was a few big stones. Lots of activity but no foundation. The truth is, being busy doesn't mean you're moving forward. A person can be very busy and very broke, very busy and very unhealthy, very busy and very unhappy, because business is about quantity of activity, not quality of results. Effectiveness, on the other hand, is about the right activity, the kind that produces results, the kind that builds something valuable. And that's the trade every person must make if they want their life to improve. Trade busy for effective. There's a comfort in business busy. KEPS. You occupied enough to avoid responsibility. If you're always too busy, you don't have to deal with improving your finance, building stronger relationships, or developing yourself. Business is safe, but safe doesn't lead to growth. Safe doesn't lead to achievement. Safe, KEPS, you spinning where you are. While effectiveness, demands focus, discipline, and courage. Now here's the irony. People often think they're too busy to stop and evaluate. They say, I don't have time to plan. I don't have time to set priorities, but that's exactly why they stay trapped in business. Without stepping back, they never realize they're pouring time into things that don't matter. There, CHASING, the small, urgent tasks, while IGNORING, the big important ONES. It's like polishing the doorknob. While the house is burning down, urgent may be effective, not at all. So here's the challenge. Don't be fooled by the illusion of business. Don't measure your days by how full they were. Measure them by what was built, what was improved, what was moved forward. Ask yourself at the end of each day, did I make progress? Did I do something important? Or was I just busy? That simple reflection can change everything. Because here's the truth, life doesn't reward motion, it rewards direction. The market doesn't pay you 4 hours of activity, it pays you for value. Your health doesn't improve because you were stressed and frantic, it improves because you invested in the right disciplines. Relationships don't grow because you filled every moment with noise. They grow because you gave them attention, focus, and care. The illusion of business will steal your time, your energy, and your potential if you let it. The cure is effectiveness, CHOSING, carefully acting deliberately. Measuring results instead of activity. Once you begin to see the difference, you'll realize that a few effective hours can produce more than weeks of business. That's the trade, that's the shift. And once you see it, you can't go back. And once you expose THAT illusion, the illusion, here's the next step. You gotta learn how to put first things first. Because once you know business isn't the answer, the question BECOMES, what is? And that brings us to the power of priorities. Priorities are the great divider between people who make progress and people who just stay busy. You see, everyone has the same 24 hours. But not everyone gets the same value out of those HOURSWHY, because most people fill their days with what's urgent instead of what's important. They get trapped in the little fires, the endless details, the constant interruptions. And when the day is over, they realize they were busy all day long, but not a step closer to their goals. Here's the truth, life is full of both majors and minors. Some things matter a great deal, and some things matter very little. The problem is most people spend major time on minor things. They give their best energy to the trivial, the convenient, the comfortable. They polish the doorknob. While the house is burning down, they answer every phone call, reply to every distraction, handle every little task, while the big life, SHAPING, PRIORITIS, are ignored. That's the trap of confusing activity with progress. I once knew a man who prided himself on how many letters he answered each day. He was meticulous, every response was perfect. But at the end of the year, his RESULTS hadn't changed his income, hadn't improved his OPPORTUNITIES, hadn't grown. Why? Because answering letters wasn't a major thing. It was neat, it was organized. It was busy, but it wasn't moving him toward his goals. And that's what happens when you confuse motion with priority. Effectiveness begins with learning two separate majors from minors to say these few things are vital. These are the things I must give my best energy to, and then to have the discipline to let go of the small, the trivial, the endless noise that fights for attention. Because here's the key, everything in life will compete for your attention. But not everything deserves it, the urgent screams, but the important whispers. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life answering scrams and miss the quiet things that would have changed everything. It takes courage to set priorities. It takes discipline to say no to the minor so you can say yes to the major. And it isn't easy because the minor is often easier to do. It feels good to check boxes, to cross tasks off a list, to feel like you accomplished something. But here's the test. Did those things move you closer to your goals? Did they build something lasting, or were they just business disguised as achievement? The difference between busy people and effective people is not effort, it's focus. Busy people try to do everything. Effective people do the right things. Busy people respond to whatever comes at them. Effective people decide in advance what matters most and give their best to those few things. Busy people are driven by pressure. Effective people are driven by purpose, and once you learn this distinction, your whole approach to time and effort changes. Think about your own life. What are the majors? Maybe it's your health, because without health nothing else works. Maybe it's your family, because RELATIONSHIPS give meaning to achievement. Maybe it's your FINANCES, because security gives you freedom. Maybe it's your personal growth, because as you grow, everything around you grows. These are majors. They deserve prime time, prime attention, prime energy. The minors watching the TV all day gossip. Trivial arguments, meaningless distractions. They steal time but give nothing in return. Now here's the discipline. You can't do everything. That's the truth. Most people resist. You cannot do everything. But you can do the right things. You can do the important things. And when you do, suddenly your results multiply. You get more out of less. A few hours on majors will do more for your life than weeks on minors. A few deliberate choices will change your direction more than years of business. That's the power of priorities. And remember, every yes is also a no in some way. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you've said no to something that mattered more. That's why you must choose carefully. Don't spend your life saying yes to every invitation, every distraction, every minor task, because if you do, you'll look back one day and realize you said no to the majors, no to the important, no to the life you really wanted. And nothing is more tragic than that. So the challenge is simple, but it isn't easy. Decide what matters most and give it priority. Guard it, protect it, build your days around it, and when you do, you'll see how quickly business falls away and effectiveness takes over. Because effectiveness isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters, and that's the power of priorities. Next, you must learn to use leverage, because priorities tell you what matters most. But leverage is how you multiply your effort to get more done with less strain. And when you put priorities and leverage together, you have the foundation of an effective life. Leverage is one of the great secrets of effectiveness. It's the principle that allows you to accomplish far more without simply working harder. You see, hard work alone isn't enough. If hard work were the answer, every laborer would be wealthy. Every exhausted worker would be successful. But IT doesn't work that way. It's not just hard work, it's smart work. It's about finding ways to multiply your effort to get more results out of the same amount of energy and time. That's leverage. Think of a simple lever with a lever. You can move what seems immovable. You don't need more strength, you just need leverage. Life works the same way. The right leverage point can move you further in one day than business could in a year. And yet most people miss it. They keep pushing with raw effort, HOPING, that if they just stay busy enough, things will improve. But the real improvement comes when you learn to use leverage. Now, what are some forms of leverage? Knowledge is leverage. Reading a book is leverage. Think about IT. A person spends their whole life gathering experiences, testing ideas, learning lessons. Then they condense those DECADES into a few hundred pages. And you get to read it in a few days. That's leverage. You compress DECADES into days. You multiply your wisdom without PAYING, the price of all the MISTAKES they made. That's one of the simplest and most powerful leverage points in the world. And most people ignore it. They claim they don't have time to read. But the truth is they don't have time not to, because every book you read saves you time, money, MISTAKES, and years of effort. Skills are leverage. Every skill you develop, MULTIPLIES, your value. Learn how to speak well, and you can influence thousands. Once learn how to sell, and you can multiply your income. And you can multiply the quality of your RELATISHIPS. Every skill is a tool that makes effort easier, more productive, more effective. Without skills, life is hard. With skills, life bends in your direction. That's leverage. People are leverage. You can try to do everything yourself, but you'll burn out quickly. Or you can learn to delegate, to collaborate, to build TAMS. One person's effort is limited, but when you align yourself with others, you multiply what's possible. The right mentor, the right partner, the right team can carry you further than you ever imagined. Alone you can do a little. Together, with leverage, you can do a lot. Systems are leverage. A system is a way of doing something once and letting it work for you again and again. If you have to reinvent the wheel every day, you waste energy. But if you build a system, a habit, a routine, a process, you multiply your efficiency. Think about ITBRUSHI. NG, your teeth is a system. You don't have to decide each night whether or not to brush. You just do it. That's leverage. SYSTEMS. Remove the wasted energy of indecision and make discipline automatic. Here's something to think about. Business is usually effort. Without leverage, it's pushing with your bare hands, trying to move the world. BY force. Effectiveness, on the other hand, is effort with leverage. It's putting the lever under the load, positioning IT correctly, and moving what seemed impossible with half the effort. The difference is dramatic, and once you've experienced the power of leverage, you'll never go back to raw business again. But leverage isn't automatic. You have to look for it. You have to ask yourself each day, where's the leverage in this situation? How can I multiply this effort? How can I get more return for the same investment of time and energy? That simple question can transform the way you work, the way you grow, the way you live. Imagine two people both want to improve their finances. One person tries to do it all by working longer hours, ADDING, job after job, exhausting themselves. That's business without leverage. The other person spends the same amount of time, but LEARNS, new SKILLS, reads financial BOOKS, BUILDS, a side business, and INVESTS in ASSETS. That's effectiveness with leverage. After a few years, the first person is burned out and barely ahead. Second person is thriving, building wealth steadily. The difference, effort. It's leverage, and the beautiful thing is leverage compounds. One skill leads to another, one system, SUPPORTS, the next one relationship, OPENS, the door to many more. Over time, the effect is massive. A little leverage applied consistently can change the entire direction of your life. That's why you can't afford to settle for busy. Will keep you stuck. Leverage will set you free. Now we gotta figure out how we can apply this to the most precious resource we have, our time. Because leverage is powerful, but when it's applied to time, it becomes unstoppable. So we need to learn the difference between filling time and mastering time. Time is the great equalizer. Every person gets 24 hours in a day, no more, no less. But have you noticed how some people seem to accomplish so much while others struggle to keep up? It's not because they were given more hours, it's because they learned to master time instead of just filling it. That's the difference. Filling time is easy. Anyone can stay busy. Answer a few emails, take a few calls, shuffle some papers, run a few errands. You can fill a whole day and never run out of things to do. But here's the problem: filling time doesn't guarantee progress. It only guarantees exhaustion. Mastering time, on the other hand, means using those same hours deliberately with purpose, making sure they're invested in the things that matter most. That's what separates busy lives from effective lives. I once knew a man who prided himself on never having an empty moment. His calendar was packed from morning till night. Every slot filled, every hour spoken for. But when you looked at his results, his health, his finances, his relationships, they told another story. For all his business, there was little progress because he wasn't mastering time, he was just filling it. Mastering time begins with planning. You drift into an effective day. You must design it the night before. Sit down and ask, what are the major things tomorrow? What are the few essentials that must get my best energy? Then block those into your schedule first. Don't let the minors take over. If you don't plan your day, someone else will plan it for you. Through INTRRUPTONS, DMANDS, and DISTRACTONS, planning is how you take control. Another key to mastering time is understanding the difference between being busy and being productive. Productive means results, busy means activity. You can be busy all day and not be productive. That's why you must always measure the value of what you're doing. Ask yourself, is this moving me closer to my goals, or just keeping me occupied? That question can cut hours of waste from your life. Meetings are a perfect example. How many hours get wasted in meetings that should have been a single conversation or a short note? Entire days lost to endless discussions with no decisions. That's filling time, not mastering it. Effective people don't sit through endless meetings. They demand purpose. Demand clarity. They demand results. If the meeting doesn't move things forward, they don't let it steal their hours. Reflection is another discipline of time mastery. At the end of the day, take a few minutes and ask, what did I accomplish? What could I have done better? What will I adjust tomorrow? That simple review multiples the value of your time. Most people rush from one day into the next without ever stopping to learn from what just happend. Reflection, turns experience into wisdom. It keeps you from wasting tomorrow on the same mistakes you made today. And here's a principle to live by: don't count the hours, make the hours count. You don't get paid for time, you get paid for value. You don't get rewarded for hours of effort. You get rewarded for results. Some people spend 10 hours accomplishing what others can do in 2. Why? Because the second group mastered their time. They focused on majors. They use leverage. They cut the waste. Mastery of time is mastery of life. But here's the challenge. Time slips away so easily. You sit down to do one thing, and suddenly, an hour is gone, stolen by distractions. That's why you need GUARDRALS. Protect your time the way you'd protect your most valuable asset, because it is. Say no more. Often turn off what distracts you. Create blocks of uninterrupted time for your majors. Treat those blocks as sacred. Because if you don't, the miners will sneak in and take them from you. The most effective people I've known were ruthless about their time, not unkind but disciplined. They knew that every yes to something small was a no to something important. They knew that filling time with what's urgent but trivial only left them empty later. They built their days around the majors. They protected their best hours for their best work, and they let the rest fall away. That's why they achieved so much with the same 24 hours everyone else had. So the question for you is simple. Are you filling time or mastering it? Are you counting hours? Or are you making hours count? Because the answer will tell you everything about where your life is headed. And once you've mastered time, or at least got a pretty good hold on it, it's time to start building the effective life. Because effectiveness isn't just about work and hours, it's about building a life that works. A life of health, wealth, love, and contribution. A life that matters. Building an effective life is more than mastering hours and tasks. It's about shaping your whole existence, so that everything works together. Because what good is it to be effective at work but ineffective in health? Or to be effective financially but ineffective in RELATIONSHIPS? True effectiveness means balance. It means BUILDIN. A life that works across all the important areas: health, wealth, love, and contribution. Think of it like a farmer. A farmer doesn't just plow one field endlessly while ignoring the others. He doesn't just scatter seeds on barren ground and hope for the best. He chooses good soil, plants the right seeds, tends them carefully, and balances his attention across the whole farm. That's what an effective life looks like. It's planting in the right places, watering the right habits, harvesting the right rewards. Start with health. Without health, nothing else works. What's the point of financial wealth if you don't have the strength to enjoy it? What's the point of achievement if you can't get out of bed? That's why effectiveness begins with daily disciplines of health. What you eat, how you move, how you rest. It doesn't take dramatic change. It takes consistency. A short walk each day, a little better nutrition, enough rest to recover. Those small disciplines make the body strong, and a strong body is the foundation for an effective life. Then there's wealth, money, everything. But it touches everything. Effectiveness with money doesn't come from working yourself to death. It comes from habits. Saving consistently, investing wisely, living within means. Wealth is built not by business, but by effectiveness, knowing how to make your money work as hard as you do. Remember, financial effectiveness isn't about how much you make. It's about how you manage what you make. RELATIONSHIPS are another pillar. What good is it to succeed in the marketplace if you fail at home? Effectiveness in RELATIONSHIPS means giving attention, kindness, and time to the people who matter most. It means LISTNING instead of just REACTING. It means investing in your family and friends with the same seriousness you invest in your business. Because in the end, RELATIONSHIPS are what give meaning to achievement. An effective life is one where the people closest to you know They matter not because you said it once, but because you show it daily, and then there's contribution. True effectiveness isn't just about what you get, it's about what you give. It's about LEAVING things better than you found them, serving others, SHARING wisdom. Giving back, contribution, the meaning of everything else. Wealth BEC more meaningful when it allows you to help skills become more valuable when they lift others. Time BEC richer when it's spent on something bigger than yourself. An effective life is one where your legacy. OUTLIVES, your business effectiveness doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean you never make mistakes. It means you put your effort where it counts. Across all areas of life consistently, it means you don't sacrifice one pillar for another. What good is financial gain if it costs you your health? What good is health if you spend it selfishly? What good are relationships if you neglect your growth? Balance is effectiveness when all the parts of your life move in harmony. That's when life really works. Picture what that looks like. Waking up with energy because your health habits are in place, working effectively, not frantically. Because you've learned priorities and leverage managing your money wisely so stress doesn't consume you. Coming home to relationships that are strong because you've invested attention and kindness. Ending the day knowing you contributed something valuable, no matter how small. That's the effect of life. Not a life filled with frantic business, but a life filled with meaningful achievement. And here's the great news: anyone can build it. You don't need special talent or luck or perfect circumstances. You just need to trade busy for effective, day by day, decision by decision. Build it in your health, build it in your wealth, build it in your relationships, build it in your contribution over time. The result is a life that works, a life that matters. So I ask you today to stop counting how busy you are and start measuring how effective you are. Busy is easy, effective takes discipline. That's the truth I want to leave you with. Because anyone can fill a calendar, anyone can stack a list of things to do, anyone can stay exhausted from morning till night and still be right where they started. That's busy, but effectiveness takes thought, planning, intention, and the courage to say no to the trivial so you can say yes to the meaningful. Remember, life doesn't pay you for how many hours you stayed busy. It pays you for the results you produce. The market rewards value, not activity. Your family thrives on attention, not excuses. Your body strengthens through discipline, not intentins. Your wealth grows by design, not by accident. Everything in life follows this principle. Results, not motion. Effectiveness, not business. So what do you do with all this stuff? I can't tell you exactly what to do with it. It's gonna be a little different for you than it is me and everyone else, but I will tell you to begin today. Wait for perfect timing. Don't wait until life slows down. It won't begin by trading one busy habit for one effective habit. Just one. Maybe it's replacing an hour of television with an hour of reading. Maybe it's swapping endless emails for one clear plan. Maybe it's CHOSING exercise instead of another excuse. One small trade today begins the shift. And once you taste the difference, you'll never want to go back because the choice is yours. You can stay busy and exhausted, always moving, but never arriving, or you can choose effective, focused, intentional, balanced, building something that lasts. And when you choose effective, your results multiply, your life expands, and your legacy grows. So here's the challenge: don't measure your life by how busy you were, measure it by what you built, who you became, and what you gave. That's the measure of an effective life. That's the reward of trading busy for effective.